Hey, Frugal Travelista here. I have the Voortrekker Monument behind me. Voortrekker is an Afrikaans word, and it stands for Trek of the Boers, or the Dutch settlers here in South Africa. So I'm going to do a little reading so that you have some accurate history. The Voortrekker Monument is the biggest monument in Africa. It was erected in honor and to commemorate the Voortrekkers who left the Cape Colony in the 1830s in search of independence and freedom. So they were being persecuted by the British, who were the second colonizers of South Africa, but they were fleeing the Cape Colony for independence and freedom. This was known as the Great Trek. The long journey that they took is known as the Great Trek. The monument was inaugurated on the 16th of December, 1849. It was designated by architect Gerald Morjevik. That's an Afrikaans name or a Dutch name that I didn't say right. And is surrounded by a circle of 64 wagons protecting it symbolically. And anyway, that's the little bit of history on the Voortrekker Monument. I hope you find it interesting. Before I visited this monument, I was asking people at the Freedom Circle Monument about it, and it was explained in two different ways, from two different perspectives. The first perspective was that this monument is a lot like the Old West monuments we have in the States. In fact, the Trek of the Boers, or the Dutch, was a lot like the Western settlers, where people were pursuing land and gold and also fleeing persecution at the same time, and they settled in the West. So it's like a noble, honorable journey that we celebrate in the U.S. We have the cowboy stories and the cowboy monuments, and that kind of history is preserved often in places like where I'm from, Colorado. And so that was one perspective. The other perspective I heard at the same time was from someone who said it's a symbol of South Africa's colonial past, and it's a symbol that was created by the first colonizers of South Africa and is a testament to their legacy here. So that's a different perspective, but they're probably both true. They are both true. There's some honor in that journey and history, and there's also some things that are not honorable at all. And so we know that the Dutch were the ones, the Boers were the ones who implemented the apartheid system and maintained it in the bloodiest and worst ways. And so it's not a good stuff. When I asked why this monument is allowed to stay and why it's being maintained by the contemporary government, I was given a really wonderful response that is in line with what we hear about, like the reconciliation treaty around everyone in this country. This rainbow country has a right to their story, has a right to their history, and that one story shouldn't eradicate the other. And so this site is being maintained in the same way that the sites that kind of herald a different perspective and a different presence here in South Africa. So that's a beautiful thing, that there's some equity there around whose stories are allowed to be told and how they're allowed to be told and what perspectives they're allowed to be told from. So that's a wonderful thing. If you plan to come to the Voortrekker Monument, I recommend that you come earlier in the day. I arrived at around 3. That's too late. They close at 5. Well, the monument closes at 6, and the office is closed between 4:30 and 5. But I do strongly recommend that you come no later than 2, and you give yourself several hours, 3 to 4 hours, to see everything, because it's actually a pretty sprawling site. It's more than just the monument. There's actually a map with lots of different things to see. So I'll show you the map. See that map there? There's the monument, there's a fort, there's horses, there's all kinds of stuff. And I'm missing out on some of those other features because got here at 3 o'clock. Thought 2 hours was going to be enough, but it's not. So don't repeat that mistake. Come and get your money's worth, all 80 rand worth. And also, you know, maybe plan to have lunch here or something. Enjoy the restaurant, pack a lunch, enjoy the scenery. The scenery is beautiful. It's a very tranquil, well-designed, peaceful site. Lots of great vegetation. We're here in the heart of winter and it's still lush and green and beautiful. So lush and green. There are lizards everywhere. I should not have looked that closely. OMG. I gotta get out of here. Because I wanted to see it and because it's one of the things to do here in Pretoria. It's actually, Lonely Planet does not recommend it, and I'm actually going to agree with Lonely Planet. So they don't recommend this as like a top site. It's definitely in their book, but it's not a top site, and I can see why. As far as the actual monument, inside the monument you've seen in the video, it's pretty underwhelming. It's a bunch of engraved kind of murals on the walls, and they tell a story. If you're a big history buff, which I actually consider myself to be, I studied history in school, I'm a history buff, I really enjoy history, but the history that was visually displayed here you could read pretty quickly on Wikipedia. I'm just being honest, I'm giving my honest review. I was a little underwhelmed actually. So for this trip, let me give you my frugal evaluation. I'm staying in the middle of Pretoria, so it cost me about $8 to travel here by Uber, and that's really the only way to get here. So $8 coming, $8 going, $16, and then about 80 rand to get into the site. So that's about $6. So 16, 22 bucks, $22 for the actual trip. I don't think it was worth it. I wouldn't pay it again. I don't think, if you're traveling on a budget, don't spend your $22 on this. Watch a video like this video for free and keep moving. There are other things to see in Pretoria and especially in Joburg, which are just 40 minutes from. So I don't know. So as far as the Frugal Travelista goes, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you learned something. I definitely did. I learned something about the Dutch history here in South Africa, and I have a greater appreciation, and maybe I'll do a little more reading in my free time on it. And that's it for now. Frugal Travelista here, over and out at the Voortrekker Monument. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, bum.